On my birthday that year, my younger brother brought along his girlfriend, who appeared gentle but harbored a sharp cunning. Before I could even cross the threshold, she spoke in a mocking tone. "I truly admire you, sister." With just a few words, you made Liam cancel our overseas trip and happily return with uncle and auntie to celebrate your birthday. It's not like us mere girls who are seen as tainting the family honor just by sitting at the dining table. Calmly, I reached out my left hand and swept her bowl of rice into the nearby dog crate, remarking coolly, "Coincidentally, in my house, even dogs aren't allowed to eat at the dining table." My younger brother and I were Dragon Phoenix twins, yet our personalities were completely opposite. After graduating from university, my brother, thanks to his photography talent, quickly became a renowned photographer in China. I, on the other hand, chose the path of inheriting the family business, joining my father's company. In less than 3 years, I was promoted to vice president, becoming the Little Ms. Nguyen, known throughout the industry. This year, my brother's and my lunar birthdays coincided with our parents' wedding anniversary. They suggested we seize this rare opportunity to have a warm family dinner, celebrating a once-in-a-lifetime moment. Overjoyed, I immediately called my brother. As soon as the call connected, I excitedly shared the news. But contrary to my expectations, there was a long silence on the other end before Liam slowly spoke. "Sister, I probably can't make it back for our birthday this year." I froze, my heart clenching. Not coming back? Why not? Has something happened to him? The image of my brother being kidnapped by villains flashed through my mind, and I even considered calling the police. But just then, his familiar voice resonated again. "I have a girlfriend. This year, for our birthday, I promised to take her overseas to buy a handbag." I took a deep breath. My heart, which had been suspended in midair, now slowed its beating. But immediately after, an even greater shock hit me. My brother had been single since birth, shy since childhood, even blushing when talking to girls. I thought he'd be lonely forever, so how could he suddenly have a girlfriend? But why did they have asterisk to go abroad to buy a bag precisely on our birthday? Couldn't they go a day before or after? I turned to my parents, intending to ask their opinion, when a soft voice like a mosquito's buzz emanated from the phone. "It's all right. My husband really wants to celebrate his first birthday with you, but if his sister insists on him coming home, I can understand. It's just, I feel so jealous of his sister. She has parents and a brother who love her, while I have nothing. This year, for my birthday, I suppose I'll just have to go buy my favorite bag by myself." Every word was sweet, yet laced with hidden meaning. I listened, unable to help but frown. I have my parents' and my brother's love, that's something I deserve. If she has nothing, what does that have to do with me? Moreover, since when did I become the one insisting my brother come home? I just called to inform him the decision was originally his. But if she put it that way, I had asterisk to make my brother come back. I cleared my throat, looked at my bewildered parents, and then calmly stated, "For this birthday, Dad intends to transfer company shares to us as a gift. Whether you come back or not is your decision." The other end of the phone fell silent for a few seconds, then some rustling sounds followed. A moment later, Liam cautiously asked, "Can I bring my girlfriend home?" I replied blandly, "Fine." Hearing this, Liam immediately beamed. "Lyra is so beautiful and kind, I'm sure you'll love her." Beautiful or not, I wasn't sure, but her kindness, I seriously doubted it. Could a truly kind woman manipulate others with such words? Before long, our birthday arrived. The party had been meticulously prepared, food laid out on the table for ages. The whole family sat waiting, but as time passed, there was still no sign of my brother. My mother nervously paced the living room, arms crossed, repeatedly asking, "Is Liam stuck in traffic? Why don't you call him?" I took a sip of tea, calmly replying, "Perhaps." Just as I finished speaking, the living room door opened. My brother walked in, accompanied by his girlfriend and a large bag in his hand. He quickly put down his belongings and excitedly introduced, "Sister, Mom, Dad, this is my girlfriend, Lyra." Behind Liam, a delicate, demure girl stepped forward. Her long hair flowed freely, a soft white dress reached her knees, and her face was so naturally made up it seemed bare, looking exactly like the frail heroines in romantic novels. Her gaze swept around the house, revealing subtle, unreadable glints finally resting on me. "You're Liam's sister, aren't you?" she asked with a sweet smile, her voice light as a breeze. "In front of me, Liam always praises you, saying you're as beautiful as a fairy. Meeting you today, I realize he wasn't exaggerating at all." But sister, do you really wear such heavy makeup at home? I'm genuinely envious of you. I never wear makeup on a daily basis, nor do I know how to apply it. I raised an eyebrow. What was this? Was she subtly implying that I wore flashy makeup to look better than her? Honestly, if it weren't for the smudged foundation on her false eyelashes, I might have believed her. Of course, I wouldn't let myself be easily looked down upon like that. I feigned surprise, covering my mouth, and spoke in a gentle voice. Little sister, your contact lenses are so beautiful. Where did you buy them? Initially, I only intended to subtly hint at her elaborately applied eyeshadow, exposing her lie about not wearing makeup. But to my surprise, she suddenly lowered her gaze, looking utterly wronged, and turned to my brother with a fragile, vulnerable expression. My brother immediately wrapped his arm around her waist, his eyes full of tenderness, and gently explained, "Once, when I was out collecting folk songs, I encountered danger. At that time, Lyra was injured in the eye while saving me. Afterwards, to avoid affecting the beauty of her eyes, the doctor advised her to wear contact lenses for a long time." She let out a soft sigh, placing a hand on her chest, her voice like honey. "For you, even if it's my eyes or my life, I'm willing to sacrifice." After saying this, she shyly lowered her head, but didn't forget to subtly glance at me with a triumphant look. My brother was so moved that he hugged her tightly right in front of the whole family. Then, he quickly knelt to change her shoes, pour her tea, and fetch water for her, like a devoted servant. My mother, standing beside them, watched this scene, her face instantly turning pale. I knew that on the day she gave birth to us, she had nearly lost her life. That's why from childhood, she had always pampered us, holding us in the palm of her hand. Now, seeing her son groveling before a woman like this, it was no wonder she almost lost her footing. But at the same time, my mother was also a leading ophthalmologist in China. Hearing about an eye injury requiring contact lenses, she immediately frowned and asked seriously, "If your eye is injured, do you need to wear contact lenses, child? What kind of quack doctor did you consult?" I've been in this field for so many years and have never heard of such a treatment method. If you could, would you introduce me to that doctor? My mother's direct question made Lyra stiffen. She trembled slightly, her eyes immediately welling up with tears, looking exactly like a frightened fawn. Then, she suddenly broke free from my brother's embrace and hurriedly turned away. "Liam, did I say something wrong? Does Auntie dislike me? I shouldn't be here anymore." After saying this, she made as if to walk out the door. My brother frantically pulled her back, holding her close, then turned to my mother with an accusatory tone. "Mom, please speak a little softer. Lyra is delicate, you've scared her." Hearing this, I couldn't help but chuckle. This boy, who had never dated before, had become so infatuated after just falling in love. My mother's voice hadn't changed. It was always like that. Did my brother really not see through that little green tea's act? Seeing my mother's face darken, as if she was about to explode, I gently squeezed her hand, signaling her not to rush. My mother took a deep breath, slowly composed herself, then put on a genial expression, gesturing to two empty chairs at the dining table. "All right, stop with the public displays of affection. Come, sit down." I glanced at my mother. No one understood a daughter like a mother, and no one understood my mother like me. She knew exactly what I planned to do next. My brother was currently deeply enamored with Lyra. The more we pushed him to break up, the more he would resist. Using force or harsh words would only make things worse. The only way to make him see clearly was to let him witness her true nature himself. This process might be painful, but the outcome would be for the best. Since it was a family party, besides my parents, my grandparents were also there. My mother invited my brother and Lyra to sit down, but for a long time she didn't touch her chopsticks. The atmosphere was unusually quiet. My brother gradually realized something was off. His gaze finally left Lyra's face, swept over the dining table, and stopped at the empty main chair. He frowned, unable to help but ask, "Mom, where are Grandpa and Grandma?" My father snorted angrily. "Oh, so you remember your grandparents? They've been waiting for you all afternoon, so they went out to walk the dog." I chuckled softly. My grandparents' dog, Red Lion, was a purebred, large, and majestic indigenous Namdo, a hound rustic in appearance but incredibly loyal and adorable. My grandparents cherished it like a treasure. We continued to wait for over half an hour. Finally, my grandparents returned, followed by the majestic Red Lion. As soon as he walked in, my grandfather frowned. Clearly, being kept waiting for so long by the younger generation displeased him. But his eyes, glancing over the pile of gift bags on the coffee table, seemed to lighten a little. He spoke in a deep voice. My daughter-in-law has indeed raised a good son. Coming home, he even remembers to bring gifts for his grandparents. My brother stiffened slightly, awkwardly explaining, Grandpa, these are for Lyra. A moment of silence passed. My grandfather raised an eyebrow and slowly said, Oh, then what did you buy for your parents and sister so us old folks can see? On any normal day, my brother would have excitedly shown off the gifts he had prepared. But today, he remained silent. It was obvious he hadn't bought anything. All the money in his pocket had been poured into luxurious items for Lyra. What was left for my parents and me? My villa was located in the city's most expensive neighborhood. On the way home, one would surely pass by luxury shopping malls. In front of my brother, Lyra looked elegant, but in reality, she was wearing the entire latest collection from brand D. Words could be deceptive, but actions were not. She might try to play the role of a gentle, pure girl, but her true nature was that of a greedy person. Given the chance, she would absolutely not miss draining every last drop from my brother. Otherwise, how could someone like my brother, who had never been late before, be delayed for over 3 hours on such an important family day? Wasn't it precisely because he had to accompany her around stores to satisfy her shopping cravings? My brother bowed his head, his face flushed with embarrassment. At this moment, Lyra chuckled softly, tugged on my brother's sleeve, and gently said, Grandpa, please don't blame Liam. He believes that the bond between parents and children is more precious than any gift, which is why he didn't buy any. If Auntie and his sister don't mind, I'd like to offer these gifts to Auntie and Liam's sister. Her words were pleasant to the ear, her manner soft, a very clever way to curry favor. She wanted to play the good person, to show generosity. But unfortunately, she forgot that older people often dislike those who are too quick-witted. No sooner had she finished speaking than my grandfather slammed his hand on the table and roared, Where did this outsider come from? This is our family's business. Is it your turn to speak? My grandfather's furious shout instantly made Lyra's face turn ashen. Our entire family, except for my brother, shared one common trait, a severe allergy to green tea types, especially Grandpa, who couldn't stand anyone with a husky voice in front of him. Coincidentally, Lyra had a husky voice and was a bona fide green tea. My brother was the one who feared Grandpa the most in our family. At this moment, he hugged Lyra tightly, not daring to breathe loudly, his voice cautious, as if walking on thin ice. Grandpa, she's my girlfriend. Although my grandmother didn't particularly care for Lyra, out of respect for my brother, she waved her hand, telling Lyra to sit down and eat. I originally thought this meal might pass peacefully, but unexpectedly, an incident occurred. Lyra sat next to my brother, across from me. As the maid finished setting dinner on the table, she suddenly spoke in a gentle but deeply sarcastic voice. I'm truly envious of you, sister. With just a few words, you made Liam cancel our overseas trip and even happily stay to celebrate your birthday. It's not like us mere girls who are seen as tainting the family honor just by sitting at the dining table. Oh, so she was deliberately trying to embarrass me? I didn't want to argue, but if she was going to provoke me so openly, how could I just sit still? I stood up, walked directly behind her, and under the astonished gazes of everyone, I picked up her rice bowl and tossed it straight into the crate of Red Lion, who was standing near the door. I said blandly, It's just that in my house, dogs don't eat at the table. Do you want to go down there and eat with him? Red Lion enthusiastically grabbed the rice bowl, wagging his tail around my feet, his face joyful. Lyra's face flushed. I didn't mean that. My brother quickly intervened. Sister, Lyra was just joking. Why are you so serious? I merely glanced at him, not bothering to reply, then calmly returned to my seat. Honestly, I couldn't understand what my brother saw in her. In terms of looks, she wasn't a world-shattering beauty, yet she could still make my brother so utterly infatuated. The quiet atmosphere lasted for a moment before Lyra continued her antics. As I was focused on battling a hairy crab on my plate, she elbowed my brother. I briefly glanced over and saw him fidgeting, his face tense. I chuckled faintly, then slowly spoke. Brother, do you have lice? Why are you shaking so much? As soon as I finished, my brother flinched, almost jumping out of his seat. Next to him, Lyra sat ramrod straight, her eyes glinting with anticipation. My brother swallowed hard, hesitated for a moment, then stammered. Dad, are you really going to give me the share transfer documents as a birthday gift? I was just asking, no other intention. HMPH, no other intention, I thought, rolling my eyes at Lyra. I knew in my heart that if someone hadn't incited him, Why would my brother suddenly ask about this at such a sensitive time? My father leisurely put down his chopsticks and said in a deep voice, "Considering that your sister will take over my position in the future, your mother and I have discussed and decided to divide my 30% shares into two parts. 16% for your sister, so she will have absolute control on the board of directors when she takes the chairman's seat. The remaining 14% will be for you, plus your initial dividends, which will automatically be transferred to your bank account at the end of the year. This is a reasonable arrangement." The entire dining table fell silent. My brother probably understood that this was not a small amount, so he remained quiet, but Lyra was different. Her eyes widened as she looked at me, then she flashed a knowing smile. "Oh, sister, you're so amazing. Without doing anything, you get 16% of the Nguyen Group shares. I'm genuinely happy for you." I raised an eyebrow, but she continued, "I wonder if you have a boyfriend now. If not, are you planning to never marry? If you get married in the future, won't you become part of another family? Uncle has worked hard for so many years, it wasn't easy to build this group. If you marry later, won't these shares become a dowry and eventually become someone else's family assets?" She didn't continue, but everyone understood what she was implying. Her words weren't just sowing discord, she wanted to use a few sentences to create internal division in my family. It was truly laughable. An outsider, just a temporary girlfriend, dared to come to my house and dictate terms. Before I could even speak, my mother slammed her chopsticks onto the table, her face cold. "This is truly an eye-opener. The Qing dynasty fell how many years ago, and you still hold on to the idea that a daughter marrying is like spilled water? Ignorance is not shameful, but don't spread harmful ideas. If you have free time, read some law books to understand what an independent individual and premarital assets are. Being foolish is fine, but at least try to add some common sense. If needed, I'm willing to buy you 6 walnuts." Under a roof where family affection should take precedence, my mother didn't hesitate to speak plainly, each sharp word piercing Lyra's deceit. Lyra was stunned by the sudden outburst, only clinging tightly to my brother's hand as if seeking protection. "Liam, you understand me, don't you? I didn't mean anything bad, I was just expressing my opinion. After all, you are the only son in the family, so shouldn't the inheritance of the family business naturally belong to you? I was only thinking about your best interests. But why did Auntie say such harsh things to me?" My brother hugged her tighter, his eyes showing clear distress. "I understand, Lyra. It's just because you love me too much." His eyes reddened, filled with accusation. "Mom, enough. Why do you keep targeting Lyra again and again? From the moment she walked in, you didn't welcome her, and it's the same now. Can you please stop judging her based on your own thoughts? Lyra is inherently simple and can't handle such harsh words. Stop talking." Simple, I thought. The truly simple one was my brother. From the moment she walked in, Lyra acted as if she was the lady of this house, while my parents, my grandparents, and I were just outsiders. And that's called simple. Her cunning words lacked character, her schemes to exploit my brother were wicked, and her ambition for our family's assets showed a complete lack of self-awareness. Did she really think that loving my brother meant she could put all our family's wealth into her own pocket? My grandmother chuckled. "Little Liam, I've lived for so many years. My eyes are still sharp. You're young and can't see through her, but I can. Young lady, I advise you, if you want to find a fool to exploit, go somewhere else. Our family values women more than men, and the family business will later belong to your sister. If you follow little Liam, he won't be involved in the business, but money will still flow into his pocket. So why do you care whose hands the shares fall into?" My father squeezed my mother's hand, his eyes sharp. "So what if she's a woman? Women can hold up half the sky too. My wife is outstanding, and my daughter is also excellent. No matter how many men are in this family, I'm not worried about assets falling into the hands of outsiders." Hearing this, Lyra's expression changed completely. She no longer pretended to be fragile but became aggressive. "How can you do that, uncle? Liam is your biological son. He's the only man in the Nguyen family." My father replied indifferently, "So what if he's my son? My family doesn't have a throne to pass down. Everything I built, I have the right to decide. Even if I give all the shares to my daughter, it's nobody's business. If he's a man with hands and feet and wants wealth, why doesn't he earn it himself instead of relying on family distribution?" At this point, even my grandfather spoke up. The back and forth left Lyra speechless. Finally, she angrily stormed out, crying as she ran. My brother hurriedly chased after her. At the door, she buried her face in his chest, her voice choked with sobs. Liam, I thought as long as we loved each other, we could overcome all difficulties. But I never expected your family to treat me like this. If that's how it is, let's break up. I know my status is low, and I'm not worthy of you, but I love you too much. I can't bear to lose you. A step back to take 2 steps forward, indeed, my brother was immediately moved. He gently wiped her tears and lightly kissed her forehead. Foolish girl, I love you too, I will never break up with you. Then he turned back to look at us, his face full of determination. Mom, Dad, Grandpa, Grandma, sister, I know everyone thinks Lyra is with me only for the money. But Mom, don't you think prejudice can kill a person? From today on, I will start my own career. I will prove that Lyra loves me for who I am, not for this family's wealth. Lyra was momentarily stunned, then nervously spoke. Liam, you don't have to argue with your family for my sake. Hurry and apologize. As long as it's for me, everything is worth it. Immediately after, he took her hand and left. My father was so furious he picked up the ashtray and threw it violently behind him. That idiot, throwing away his entire family for a woman, if he's gone, don't ever come back. I quickly hugged my father, afraid he would act impulsively in his rage. Dad, don't be angry. If he wants to go, let him go. My brother didn't look back, simply leaving the house. Before she left, Lyra fiercely glared at me, her eyes filled with hatred, as if she wanted to devour me whole. I merely chuckled. My brother's mind had truly been clouded by love. This wouldn't do. Perhaps he needed a strong dose of reality to wake him up. After my brother uttered those harsh words and left, my father, in his fury, immediately froze all his bank cards. He then went on an overseas trip with my mother, as if to sever ties with the boy. But my brother was stubborn. In the photography industry, work was already not easy, yet he still harbored dreams of starting his own company, pouring all his money into that dream. In the end, he was left with nothing but his bare hands. Even so, he never said a word to me. His savings had long run dry, yet every day, Lyra relentlessly clung to him, pestering him for money. When he had nothing left to give, it wasn't long before people saw him at construction sites, toiling away, carrying bricks to make a living. Sitting in my office, I silently looked at the photos sent by the private investigator. Images of my brother, who had once been pampered in luxury, now showed him with dirt-stained clothes and calloused hands from arduous labor. My assistant, Sophie, seeing my expression, couldn't help but speak up. You just want your brother to see her true colors, don't you? That's easy. My eyes lit up. I want to hear the details. Sophie pointed out that someone like Lyra would never have just one target. She must have cast her net far and wide, making it impossible for her to be tied solely to my brother. Instead of waiting for him to wake up, the fastest way was to find a breakthrough from Lyra herself. I snapped to attention and immediately ordered the private investigator to look into her. A few days later, I personally went to the construction site to find my brother, bringing undeniable proof. It was midday, under the scorching sun. My brother was squatting among a group of workers, quickly eating a simple packed lunch. His formerly healthy, wheat-colored skin was now sunburnt and dark, his body covered in bruises from heavy labor. I intended to pull him to his feet, but he looked up and met my gaze. In that instant, he turned away, avoiding me. Sister, why are you here? My heart ached, almost choking me. If I didn't come, would you expect me to just stand by and watch you suffer here? He forced a smile, trying to sound optimistic. Manual labor isn't bad, sister. Look, I'm even building muscles. I trembled with indignation. Building muscles? If you want to build muscles, you can go to the gym. Why torment yourself to this extent, all for one woman? He frowned, displeased. You don't understand, sister. Lyra is worth it. For her, I'm willing to do anything. If you came here to force me to break up with her, then please leave. I let out a bitter laugh. This fool, you see her as your one and only, but does she see you as anything at all? Open your eyes and look. Do you know how much you're being exploited? Dad is a seasoned businessman, Mom is a renowned doctor, yet they raised a child with nothing but grass in his head like you. What are your eyes for? Just to blink? Someone says a few sweet words and you're beaming. For her, you're willing to sacrifice everything. You truly are the biggest fool in this world. My mother and I shared a similar personality. From childhood, we were used to scolding others. But it had been a long time since I had scolded my brother. Yet now, standing before him, I couldn't help but shout. Angered by my scolding, his voice rose 3 octaves. Sister, no matter what Lyra is like, she truly loves me. Do you need to be so cruel? I took several deep breaths, restraining myself from delivering another slap. Yes, I am cruel, because she eats your food, uses you, spends your money. She took your money to clubs to find gigolos, took the necklace you gave her, and slept with old men old enough to be her father or uncle. Meanwhile, you, thin, pale, and foolish, exhausted yourself to feed this betrayer. With that, I threw a stack of photos at his face. He was stunned, picking up a few to look at, his eyes filled with bewilderment and denial. No way, you're lying. Lyra is innocent. She swore that in this life she would only love me. How could she betray me? This must be photoshopped. You're so vicious, doing something like this just to make me break up with her, he yelled, his eyes red. He gripped my shoulders tightly, shaking me. For the first time in my life, I was utterly disappointed. Over 20 years of family ties, all those years, and now, for a woman he'd known for less than a year, he was turning around and criticizing me. Before, when Lyra subtly mocked me, he didn't understand. But now, when I spoke the truth, he thought I had ill intentions. Did he really not understand me at all? Unable to bear it any longer, I swung my hand and slapped him squarely across the face. Then I turned on my phone, opened a video, and thrust it directly into his eyes. Open your eyes and look. See if your innocent angel is truly innocent or not. On the screen, urgent sounds played clearly, and that voice was none other than Lyra's. My brother stumbled backward, then collapsed, clutching his legs and sobbing uncontrollably. That afternoon, my brother and I went to the rented room he was staying in to pack his belongings. Unexpectedly, we ran into Lyra. She was struggling, carrying a pile of large and small bags. As soon as she saw me, she paused for a second, then quickly put her bags down, grabbed my brother's arm, and looked at me with a triumphant gaze. Didn't you yourself kick Liam out of the Nguyen family home before, and now you can't stand it and have to come looking for him? You should have understood this earlier. You should also know that no family can exist without a man, and a woman like you isn't qualified to inherit assets. If you're here to beg Liam to come back, why don't you also transfer the shares in your name to him tomorrow? Lyra spoke with sky-high confidence, completely oblivious to my brother's increasingly dark face. After all, he was the only son in the family, and while usually naive and soft-hearted, when angry, he was even more terrifying than my father. He lunged into a fierce argument with Lyra, then directly threw the scandalous photos at her. Lyra's eyes welled up with tears, her voice full of resentment. Liam, I know I made a mistake, but you're not innocent either. You are the eldest son of the Nguyen family, while I am just an ordinary person. You always made me feel insecure. I only sought a little comfort from others, but they meant nothing. The one I truly love is only you. If you love me, you should love everything about me, shouldn't you? As soon as she finished speaking, my brother let out a cold, mocking laugh. Love you so you can plant a whole field of green grass on my head, or love you for tricking me like a fool? It was truly bad luck to let you step foot in my house. Seeing that she couldn't turn the situation around, Lyra quickly played the emotional card. But have you forgot? Back then, when you had that accident while taking photos, I was the one who saved you and took you to the hospital. Because of that, my eye was even injured. My brother laughed coldly, without a trace of emotion. You still dare to bring that up? We've been together for less than a year, and I've already spent nearly 10 billion VND on you. Consider that debt paid in full. With that, he pulled me away, not even bothering to look back. I breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, my brother had come to his senses and found his way back home. My family had never opposed his relationships, but from the start, we hadn't accepted Lyra, not because of her ordinary background, nor her lack of beauty or education, but because of her dishonest nature. She was unworthy of my brother. My brother was not inherently foolish, but when in love, he was no different from a naive child. To put it nicely, he was the type to love wholeheartedly. But to put it bluntly, he was nothing short of a blindly infatuated fool. He was always serious in his affections, always trusting the person he loved wholeheartedly, a rare quality in men today. But it all only mattered if he met the right person. My brother locked himself in his room and cried for 2 days, mourning the shattered relationship with a betrayer. When my parents heard the news, they were overjoyed beyond measure, immediately booking an overnight flight from overseas just to open a champagne party to celebrate. This act was nothing short of rubbing salt into my brother's wounds, making him cry even more fiercely. A few days later, as I was in my office signing contracts, Sophie suddenly pushed open the door, phone in hand, her face tense. Ms. Nguyen, there's a big problem. I looked up, calmly asking, did the company's stock price plummet? No, it's about Liam, she replied. I breathed a sigh of relief, leaning back in my chair, my voice nonchalant. Was he tricked by a woman again? She raised an eyebrow. Exactly. With that, she held up her phone, opened Weibo's Hot Topics, and placed it in front of me. I looked down. As expected, my brother was trending. Nguyen family young master plays with feelings. Liam Nguyen makes girlfriend pregnant but denies responsibility. Lyra, I swear I'm not worthy of him. I casually clicked on an article. Immediately, Lyra's pitiful face filled the screen. She claimed, I am just an ordinary person, never dared to dream of love with a rich young master. The first time I met him, I thought he was just a normal guy traveling. Throughout our time together, I never spent a single penny of his. He pursued me first. I loved him with all my heart, but in the end, he only treated me as a joke. Perhaps it's because his family always looked down on me. On his parents' wedding anniversary, I only sent my best wishes, yet they brutally kicked me out. They even insulted me, saying that someone like me only deserved to eat with dogs in their house. My dear child, even if your father doesn't want you, having just your mother is enough. Your father is a good man, it's just a pity your mother wasn't good enough to keep him, not worthy of him. I scrolled down to the comments section. As expected, it was filled with insults targeting my brother. Today, I finally understood. These rich people, outwardly glamorous, are inwardly so filthy. A man playing with someone's feelings, getting them pregnant, then denying responsibility. What's the difference between him and a rotten fish? Just because you have money, you think you can do anything. Who gave you the right to treat women like toys? Men truly think with their lower half. Thank you for strengthening my resolve to stay single forever. Am I the only one who feels sorry for the baby in her womb? Reading this, I was so enraged I almost smashed my phone. This wretched green tea. She was the one who played with my brother's feelings, and now she was turning around and delivering a painful bite. Did she really think I was a soft persimmon that could be squeezed however she wanted? I took a deep breath, composed myself, then ordered my brother to go to the bank to get his bank statements and full transaction history. At the same time, I instructed the legal department to draft a lawyer's letter, demanding Lyra return all the money she had received within 1 week, otherwise we would sue. Additionally, track down those behind the rumors slandering the Nguyen family and my brother, then file lawsuits against all of them. Less than a minute later, my brother's call came in, his voice hoarse with agitation. Sister, that baby isn't mine, I never touched her. I smirked coldly. I believe you, just leave it to me. The next day, the legal department sent warning letters to Lyra and the bloggers spreading false rumors. At the same time, I also posted an article on my personal Weibo. In the post, I meticulously listed every expense my brother had incurred for Lyra over the past period, from luxury shopping receipts to hundreds of transfers, totaling over 100,000 Chinese yuan. And, of course, I attached the surveillance video recording her despicable conversation at my house that day. Unfortunately for her, my living room not only had high-definition cameras, but also an audio recording system from every angle. I started a live broadcast, facing the screen, my voice cold as ice. Lyra, do you think that just by shedding a few tears and posting some pitiful videos, you can turn white into black? Sorry, I don't have a habit of tolerating green tea types like you. I remember you once said you don't wear makeup and never spent a penny of my brother's money. So, the branded cosmetics my brother bought for you, did you keep them as souvenirs? Or are you waiting for them to expire before offering them as sacrifices? Furthermore, our family has never looked down on ordinary people. We only look down on people like you. My family's dog at least knows loyalty, but you only cause trouble when you come to my house. When exactly do you qualify to covet the Nguyen family's assets? And as for the baby in your womb, that truly is the biggest joke of the year. During this time, how many men did you go to hotels with? According to the information I have, at least 7 to 8 men. If you want to expose yourself, I don't mind telling everything. I just wonder if you feel any shame. The broadcast ended and public opinion immediately shifted. Comments flooded in, supporting my brother. I can't believe the young master of the Nguyen family is so faithful and innocent, so pathetic. I said from the beginning that this green tea wasn't to be trifled with, but no one believed me. Sister, does your family need a sister-in-law? But I'm a guy, is that okay? Sister, does your brother have brain problems? I'm researching neurology. Send him to me for a free checkup, just consider it bad luck. Not long after, Lyra deleted all related videos and disappeared from public view. Much later, I learned that since breaking up with my brother, her life had spiraled out of control. Initially, she had planned to leverage the scandal to live stream, build a reputation on social media. then sell products online, and if lucky, even break into the entertainment industry as an actress. But she hadn't expected to run into me, a formidable opponent. Not to mention being sued in court. Not only did her plans for fame fail miserably, but her social media accounts across multiple platforms were also banned. The money and luxury items my brother had given her were ordered by the court to be returned, more than half of them, because when transferring funds, the purpose wasn't clearly stated. Furthermore, with a lazy older brother and a demanding mother, the small remaining sum quickly ran out. With no other option, she was forced to abort the child in her womb and then rely on her fragile appearance and manipulative tricks to seek new relationships. Later, I heard that she had seduced a wealthy boss, but it turned out he was just a professional swindler. Not only did she not receive love, but she was also used by him to open over a dozen credit cards, withdrawing sums up to billions of VND. Finally, he and his wife absconded, leaving her with a colossal debt with no one to turn to. She sought out my brother for help, but only received a cold shoulder. My brother flat out called security to escort her out. With a family that constantly exploited her and a heavy debt burdening her, she had no way out. Eventually, she had to resort to using her own body to make a living. Not long after, her health deteriorated severely, her body was covered in pockmarks, and she developed heart disease. Indeed, what you sow is what you reap. If she hadn't been so cunning and calculating back then, perhaps she could have become the Nguyen family's daughter-in-law today, enjoying a prosperous and wealthy life. Meanwhile, my brother happily picked up his camera, vowing to photograph all the most beautiful rivers and mountains of his homeland. By the Mid-Autumn Festival, he returned from afar, carrying a pile of souvenirs to my office. Just then, Sophie pushed open the door and walked in. "Oh, Mr. Nguyen, it's you." My brother froze. "You know me?" Sophie smiled and poured him a cup of tea. "Do you remember that time on Mount Pham, son? When it rained, you gave me your umbrella." At this, my brother was taken aback. "It was you. No wonder I felt you looked familiar, but why didn't I see you again after that?" Sophie chuckled softly. "There was a flash flood that day, and you were hit on the head by debris and knocked unconscious. After the rescue team took you away, I discovered that I also had a broken leg and an eye injury. It took me 3 months to recover. By the time I tried to find out about you, no one in the group had kept in touch with you anymore." Hearing this, my brother suddenly fell silent, clenching his hand, his eyes filled with emotion. As for me, I slowly sipped my tea, looking at my foolish brother, and couldn't help but sigh. So, he had mistaken his rescuer all this time, inadvertently giving Lyra the opportunity to exploit him for so long. Waiting until my brother went downstairs to buy drinks, I took Sophie's hand and asked seriously, "Tell me the truth, do you have feelings for my brother?" A blush immediately spread to Sophie's ears. She gently bit her lip, then softly admitted, "Ms. Nguyen, actually, I joined the company as your assistant solely because of Liam. I fell in love with him at first sight." I was surprised. "Then why didn't you pursue him back then?" "That year, I intended to confess after I recovered, but he already had a girlfriend at that time. I didn't want to be a third party, so I just secretly observed from afar. I came to the company to have a chance to be closer to him, but after joining, I realized he never came to work at the company, so there was no opportunity to meet. Later, when things happened between him and Lyra, I felt I should give him time to get over the past, so I still hadn't expressed my feelings." I looked at her, and an indescribable feeling welled up in my heart. Through many years by my side, Sophie had always worked diligently, with a cautious attitude and very skillful interpersonal skills. She had both principles and perseverance. Such a girl was indeed very worthy of my brother. I leaned back in my chair, arms crossed, a slight curve on my lips. My brother is simple and easily fooled. Just holding hands makes his face flush. "Come on, I want to be holding a grandchild within 3 years." Sophie immediately blushed, covering her face with both hands, yet still couldn't help but secretly glance towards my brother's retreating figure downstairs. She bit her lip, her resolve firm. "I'll definitely do it." Looking at her shy demeanor, I couldn't help but chuckle inwardly. My brother, that poor little white rabbit, had just escaped a wolf's den, and now he was falling into a tiger's lair. It seemed his life was about to turn a new page.